Hello, everybody. Just giving everyone a chance to log on. While we're waiting for everybody to come in, we've got some functionality. I'm sure that everyone is well used to using Zoom after the last couple of years, but in case there is anybody isn't that prefers Teams or only ever uses Google Hangout, for example, we've got Q&A down the bottom. That's where I want all the questions, just because in case the chat goes a little bit crazy, it's an easier way of us keeping tabs on what questions to make sure that they get answered properly for you. But in the chat, maybe while we're waiting, if you can drop in there where you're from, what your kind of products that you sell. Always good to see where people are dialing in from. So, and see the kind of audience we've got this morning. So, yeah. We'll give it another minute or two just to make sure everybody gets a chance to join in. Hopefully, with me doing this and asking you to put in the chat, it will also check that you can all hear me okay as well, and that I'm not talking to myself. Morning to Hale, lovely, okay. I'm assuming that means you can hear us okay. Lovely, thanks Jane, thanks for confirming. Mineral sunscreen, interesting. Okay. All right, we'll give it another. We've got 32. Okay, another minute. Can I also check everybody can see a screen? You can see the presentation up and live. Okay. I can see it fine, but just want to make sure the attendees can see it. Okay. Lovely. Thanks, Jane. You're my little helper this morning. Okay. Right, what we got? Okay. Well, we're 3 minutes past now, so we've got a lot to get through. So we can get started on the introduction, the agenda, and the housekeeping, so that any late arrivals can just join in with us. So, as I mentioned, thank you for joining today. Obviously, this is a GS1 UK webinar. I'm Lorna. I work for GS1 UK. I'm one of the marketplace engagement managers. And so what we're going to have a look today is at TikTok Shop. Obviously, we're always trying to help our members find new growth channels, particularly through marketplaces, because it's a nice, easy option to be able to test out your products without, obviously, the big store investments that you used to have to do. So if you can go to the next slide for me, Ryan. Lovely. We've got a great lineup of speakers. We've got Ryan and Adrian, both from TikTok, who are going to be talking to you about the whats and the whys of TikTok Shop. And then we've got Jonathan from one of our partners called Highlands Digital, who's going to be talking about how you get started. So that's enough from me. Let's get started. Ryan, I'll pass over to you now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lorna. Morning, everyone. I thank you all for coming, especially on a Friday morning. I know that everyone's probably looking forward to the weekend. But yeah, my name's Ryan. I work in the growth and strategy team here at TikTok. Mostly we're sort of supporting merchants right now in how they come on board and how they take their first steps really in their TikTok journey. We know that TikTok is a very exciting place for a lot of people, but in terms of the shop function and the shop component, it's also quite daunting. So we've got quite a good lineup here today to really talk about how easy it is to get set up. Adrian will talk more around the products and how to sell on TikTok. And then we'll look quite like probably a little bit into like best practices and how to, I guess, get success on TikTok more importantly as well. But yeah, this is the overview, and welcome to TikTok Shop. So in terms of TikTok Shop, we've been around for about a year now, and the reason for it is that we saw such a huge number of viewership and understanding into how we are impacting that decision-making process in terms of the shopping space. As you can see here, we have about 1 billion monthly users, and there's about 17 times average app open per day for those users. And so that's a huge funnel for our brands that we work with on a day-to-day basis. But the really exciting part was that it goes beyond just what that impression looks like and what that viewership looks like. And so we've now narrowed it down to understand that conversion, understand what that looks like for our merchants, going beyond just what cost per click looks like, and really adding new additional revenue streams for our brands. And so we've kind of identified it here in terms of the hashtag TikTok made me buy it, having about 13 billion views. And from a recent study that we conducted, about 83% of TikTokers showed that TikTok actually made an impact on their purchase decision. So that's what we were looking at in terms of understanding what e-commerce could look like on our platform and how it could feel organic as well to the user experience. And that's where this in-app full 360 approach came from. And it was born from the sense that you could have a user journey, which is TikTok Shop, that was a full end-to-end solution. So a user could essentially see a video, whether it be a live or whether it be a short video, they could find that product, they could click on that product, they could see, the alternatives that product had, whether it be size, whether it be color, and they could check out all without leaving the app as well. In terms of that, we look at sort of three major areas, and we want to be part of that browsing experience. And that was a huge part for our merchants in coming on board TikTok Shop and understanding like the why. We wanted to make that user experience then easy as possible. And that's where we look at that selection process and we look at that checkout process as well. But in terms of a full shopping experience, that's what we wanted to give our users. But then we listened to our merchants as well in understanding, okay, how does this fit into our plan and how does this fit into a full 360 approach? So I'll go through briefly on getting set up on TikTok and getting started and enhancing your content. And then Adrian will run through setting up the shop to sell directly on TikTok and then increasing that activity as well. So getting started on TikTok. So it's actually really simple, and we tried to break it down into sort of four major components. But in terms of getting set up, obviously signing up to the TikTok app, then you can convert your TikTok account to a business account, which is just through the link. And then you can add on an amplification and ads component as well. So either by Ads Manager or installing the TikTok Pixel. We'll also share a direct link after this call, which will allow you to see exactly the full end-to-end process of signing up, but also linking your business account. In terms of looking at this experience, we've sort of split it down into two major components. And the reason that people have joined TikTok Shop, and the reason that I guess a huge component for adding this on to brands' new way of working and new marketing progress is really looking at the organic focus, but also a paid amplification as well. So when we look at the organic standpoint, there's that native user experience where they're scrolling, they're finding new products and they're engaging with that. And then there's also the targeted approach that is part of a lot of our brands' existing marketing plans as well. And so that they can add on to that. So that's probably the most exciting part is finding new users, but also being targeted in that sense. Adrian, I'll pass over to you.
Cool. This is the first handover, so let me just share screen on my side. Awesome. Can you see my screen? Well, morning everyone. My name is Adrian. I'm one of the product managers here in the UK. I'm going to build some of the features for our TikTok shop. I'm just going to go through very high level sort of the registration process, and I think just for this audience, like if you don't have much sort of engagement on TikTok at the moment, I can definitely show that how the TikTok shop experience looks like on the app. So in terms of sort of getting set up, I think the first thing to do is, of course, set up a TikTok shop account. One thing to note here is if you already use TikTok for advertising, you should already have a TikTok for business account. You use those same credentials to log in, but make sure that you are jumping into the sort of Seller Center console in which you log in. And so more details of that, as Ryan mentioned earlier, will be provided in terms of the links that we send up this webinar. So first things first, obviously sign up. The second thing I want to mention is that most of the folks here already probably have e-commerce businesses, probably are operating some of the key e-commerce platforms out there already. Once you log into our Seller Center console, you should be able to see sort of integrations with existing e-commerce platforms, be it BigCommerce, WooCommerce, or indeed some multi-channel listing providers such as Linworks. So all of these potential connectors really help to reduce the friction for you to come into TikTok Shop, and we hope to make that journey as easy and as smooth as possible. So you can see more of these details once you register and actually jump inside the Seller Center. Next thing to do is just to sort of, I guess, go through the registration process. There are two options here, but I want to focus more on the option number 2, which I assume most folks in the audience here would probably relate to more. So the process is pretty simple. You obviously register per what I mentioned in the last slide. Once you come in, you simply have to provide sort of all the company information that we require, upload that into our system, at which point we would review the information and give you confirmation within 1-2 days that you're sort of good to go. At that point, you're ready to start selling. Obviously, with TikTok, there is the unique element to link your existing TikTok account. By that, I mean the one that faces TikTok users today. We can go into more of the details of what that means in the next few slides. If you're already using the Shopify channel app to sort of push adverts into TikTok from your Shopify account, then you simply go into the channel app and upgrade to shop functionality in order to do some of the things that we will mention in the coming slides. Cool. So I'm not sure how many people already use TikTok, but just to sort of go through and give a bit of background on what TikTok Shop looks like. So in effect, there are 3 channels in which your products can be sold through on TikTok. In-feed videos, product showcases, and live shopping. Each of these will go more into detail in the next few slides. But essentially, for those who haven't even used TikTok just yet, when you go onto the TikTok app, you will immediately jump on the homepage where there's a sort of continuous feed of videos that are sort of personalized to your taste. And so these different video formats will fall within that sort of scrolling experience in order to allow users to explore your products and then purchase. So the first thing I want to talk about is in-feed videos. It's quite a common sort of experience. So short form content in which the content inside is related to maybe a particular product. As you can see here, there's a sort of little icon, a shopping basket icon, in which if someone is interested, they would click through. And what will pop up is what we call the product details page. So, akin to this sort of shopping experience or the listing pages you see on Amazon or eBay, you were able to see, this product display page here. Here, the customer will be able to browse through the products, the details around the product, reviews, and so on and so forth to really make that purchase decision. And as you can see here with the buttons here, they can add to cart or buy now. So it's a very seamless checkout process. The next one is what we call product showcase. So you would have a TikTok account and users would jump onto your profile page to explore your content a bit more. In that process, they'll be able to explore essentially the sort of shopping tab, as you can see here. What that would just mean is they'll be able to see all the products that you have listed on your TikTok Shop account. Again, go through that process of exploring, clicking through on the products, reading through the product detail pages, and then checking out to buy the product. And lastly, live shopping. So you might work with creators, or you yourself might participate in live streams in which you can pin products during that live stream that you are talking about at the moment. So maybe I might be selling a phone, or in this case, fashion, and on that particular address, then I would pin that product onto the user's home screen, in which they would have that sort of moment to click through, again, explore the product in more detail before checking out. So again, a different style to the selling on TikTok. I'm going to then jump directly back to the wonderful TikTok Shop backend console as it relates to sort of the GS1 and where to input your barcodes. So if you guys are already operating on different e-commerce platforms, then our listing experience is also quite simple and intuitive. So once you jump into our Seller Center console, essentially you would have to just add product listings either one by one or in bulk, and at which point, after you fill out all your details regards to the product, be it the title, the category it's meant to be placed in, as well as things like images and and videos and so on and so forth, then you would then jump into sort of the component in which a JITN is required. So I think for most folks on this call, as part of GS1 UK members, you should already have JITN 13 numbers associated with your products. So in this scenario, you would navigate to the product identifier spot within the listing process, select EANs, as this is a 13-digit format that we accept, plug in that number that relates to the product, and after that, hit save, and you'll be able to upload your JITN numbers into our system. The slide here details also the other formats that we accept. So, for example, in the books category, obviously ISBN is the one that you want to input. So these are also configurable when you are listing your product. Just maybe one more nuance on the TikTok Shop side. So obviously, it's a required field, and one must input information when prompted. However, there are certain scenarios where perhaps you might not have a JITN associated with that particular product, or maybe a particular bundle, in which case we do allow for some exemptions in certain categories. This similar to sort of the listing experience on other platforms too. And lastly, we know that obviously you can do these things individually within Seller Center. However, we do know obviously with larger volumes of listings that this might not be feasible. We do have different ways to upload your JITN or listing information in general onto TikTok Shop. This can be via what we call batch upload. So essentially an Excel file in which you populate all the details of your product and upload onto the system to get it set up, or indeed through Open API. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have some connectors with existing e-commerce platforms in which we can bring that information over into TikTok Shop. Or indeed, if you have much more complex systems, you can create your own bespoke API integration, and at which point, take that information from your system and plug it into TikTok Shop in bulk. So I think at this point, that's it for me. I'll hand it back to Ryan to continue the presentation.
Thanks, Adrian. So just as a final part, we look at sort of how to succeed on TikTok Shop and probably going beyond that as well. So from like an organic and from a paid perspective, in terms of like TikTok Shop right now, we've sort of broken it down into sort of 5 key pieces or a small roadmap. And we look at it in the sense of number one is making it feel like a regular short video. So the biggest part for us right now is understanding how shopping content works alongside our own organic content, which is the rich experience that users have and love about TikTok right now. From that, we sort of look at the targeting the audience strategically, and that was briefly what I discussed regarding the paid amplification, and looking at ways of how short videos or live videos can target users that you potentially have in your target demographics or areas that you want to cater into as well. Then we look at product selection and how that works, and we've broken it down into these 5 sort of key major components, which is the detail page, understanding what the product resolution image is, what the description looks like. We look at price, and that still continues to be a major factor on our app as well, in understanding, can TikTok be the place that is a unique item for that sense as well. Functionality, is the product actually something that users will use? So that's something that a lot of groups are looking at right now in terms of what they're sourcing for TikTok versus what they're sourcing on their other e-commerce sites. Demand, again, understanding, are users going to be looking for this, or are they trying to find this elsewhere? And then novelties. So we understand that trends are a continual factor for us, and the hashtag challenge, of course, is there as we make note. But we're constantly engaging with our users, and we think that that's probably the best part that brands have right now in terms of the TikTok Shop element, is that they get to that one-to-one engagement straight away, because users are constantly commenting, or if they're in a live room, they're having that direct engagement. a clear call to action as well. So in terms of the product functions that Adrian talked about, we also have that as the hosts talking about it and giving those verbal cues on where to check out, where the links are, and how to access that shopping component, and then repeat and scale, which it seems like a pretty obvious part for a lot of the e-commerce work, but it's a major factor in how TikTok Shop has that user experience and gives back to our community as well. From that, we have some other exciting products and amplification ways that our brands work with us right now. And one exciting part is the affiliate program that we brought in-house. We have two components right now, which is a target plan and an open plan. And merchants and brands are able to select creators that they want to work with. You're able to negotiate cost per acquisition fees directly via our seller center, and you're able to choose creators that make sense to your brand. And that's all, accessible through our affiliate program in our backend system. And then the other exciting plan is our open plan. So brands are able to put their products up. You're able to put a fee that would be associated to that particular product, and creators are able to select that product and create content for it. Of course, the brand still is able to approve and decline that content that is going out, but it's a really easy way to get set up as well on TikTok Shop, and it's able to again create content via other means that might not have been accessible previously. And then the final component is the really looking at the third parties that we work with, and we have one here today, of course, but in terms of TSPs, they're TikTok Shop partners. They're service providers for our merchants as well, and they're third parties that can help you with merchant development, e-commerce management. They can even help with supply chain and logistics. And then, of course, on that other side is that studio and content production, whether it be presenter management or whether it be strategy as well. And then on the other side of that, so going more to the creator-led side, we have our multi-channel networks as well, and they manage the e-commerce creator talents within the UK. They onboard creators at scale, they manage them, they have the direct collaboration, and then they figure out that capability and strategy as well. But those are two of the areas that we also work with, and we can give recommendations to those groups as well if brands are interested. And I believe there's just a final part as well. So we've talked about this previously, but the organic presence, and these are sort of some links that we'll be able to give out after this call. But we have our creative center that gives sort of insight into what's popular on TikTok right now and how to get set up. We have that paid visibility. So we have our own marketing partners, we have a creative exchange, and we have a creative marketplace. And then Shop Success, we have our TikTok Shop partners and the Shop Academy to get all the education out of TikTok and how to get set up. But yeah, I'll pass over to Jonathan.
Thanks very much. Let me just share my screen. Everyone see that all right? I'm guessing so. Yeah, so thanks very much everyone for joining us, and good morning, and cheers to Adrian and Ryan for giving a very comprehensive review of everything that goes on at TikTok Shop. Now, I'm sure you guys are listening and thinking, wow, there's a lot to it. And there is, and that's kind of the beauty of the platform, is there are so many ways to achieve success. And one of the key understandings that we found is really beneficial to have is to acknowledge that TikTok Shop is both an e-commerce marketplace and a social media channel. And leveraging the distinct, unique sides of these platforms really allows you to find success. So when you're a brand on TikTok, one of the first things to ask yourself is, where do you want to start? And most commonly, we find that the two goals are either revenue or awareness. Now, building awareness on the platform is normally the first step, unless you already have a brand that is popular on the platform or has got a lot of success on other social media platforms or digital avenues. So in order to build your awareness, there's a lot of activities you can do, ad support and content, as well as live shows. And once you've built great awareness for your account, revenue then follows, because people are interacting with your content, seeing your product listings, and then purchasing. So we can't ignore the power of organic content either. As Ryan showed in the slide with the paid advertisements and the organic advertisements that you can see your target audience in the middle, the organic content on TikTok can actually outperform poorly scheduled and not intuitive content that's made, in terms of, if it's very kind of like high performance and really HD, kind of what you see on other networks or traditional marketing, it often doesn't succeed so well on TikTok. It's a very snappy, very fast-paced platform. And you really just can't sideline the power of having organic content that is native and really resonates with the familiar audience on TikTok. And then finally on this slide, we've got the creative first mindset. So this is something we try and instill in every brand we work with. And it's to have the viewpoint of putting your creative first. Now, content's king. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase. It's used a lot, and for a really good reason. And having a creative first mindset on TikTok allows you to truly engage with the platform in the way that it's meant to be engaged with. Creating content, creating live shows where your focus is on creativity, on entertainment, is going to give you an edge on those who are just focused on marketing or just pushing their products, which is often something that gets ignored. So one difficulty that a lot of people have on TikTok is, well, how can we maintain our brand voice and at the same time go with the flow and be really fluid, follow trends? And the way to do this is to create with TikTok in mind. So you've got to have an opinion for your brand. A brand without an opinion can come across as a little boring. It can be difficult for people to truly engage with brands that don't feel familiar to them and don't feel exciting. So finding this balance between, following trends and creating things that are unique to your brand, it's a constant battle for commercial content creators, but that's where TSPs and MCNs come in and can help you guys navigate those waters. So when you're creating with TikTok in mind, it really ties back to mindset, and it's understanding that you must speak the language of your consumers and create connections to them through already familiar media, as well as already familiar personalities. That brings us on to collaborate. Now, community is a massive thing on TikTok, and especially in this new social commerce revolution. And collaboration on TikTok is really a key way to build your success, and not only build success in the short term, but ensure that you're going to have a loyal following for a long time to come. Collaborating with creators that are already in line with your brand's identity is an incredible way to push your products out to a very high number of people in a very short time frame. And what you can do there is you can leverage the followers that already existing popular creators have to get your product out there to all of those people, share your brand message through those creators without having to do much work on your page itself. It's a really good first step to build. If you create and collaborate in these ways, what that allows you to do is effectively communicate your brand's message through a natural vehicle to your audience, which means it's less likely to be ignored or swiped past. This is really important because some of you might not be on TikTok, but those of you who do use TikTok will know it's such a fast-paced platform. People are constantly swiping, and you really need to stand out and appear to be authentic and organic. Otherwise, you're mostly going to get ignored because there's just so much great content on there, and it's such a fast-paced platform. So the steps to getting live on TikTok, I know Adrian and Ryan took it through in far more detail than this, but I just wanted to cover over sort of the basic steps we see to taking it through. So what I've put here is 1 and 2, the page shop and design and assets, as well as your content creation and posting. These kind of need to be your foundation for your TikTok store. So you can use the integrations and APIs to populate your product listings, to get all of your information on the page, to make sure that your brand assets and your logos and your profile pictures are all set up in a familiar way to your other social media platforms and other e-commerce channels. Now, this is really key because it creates a level of cohesion across all of your marketplaces and means that your existing customers won't feel alienated when they go on your TikTok shop site. So once you've got these 2 steps kind of cemented in place, what most people see as a natural next step is working with creators. Now, as I mentioned before, working with creators is very beneficial because it allows you to leverage their audiences, and it really reduces that runway of like getting your products out to a wider audience. Now, running ads on the platform, there are a lot of different ad types you can run on TikTok, and they're not all too unfamiliar from what you'd see on other social media platforms. But I've chosen to focus on video shop ads and live shopping ads here, as they are 2 really unique ad types offered by TikTok. So the video shopping ads allow you to boost out to your targeted audience your already existing content on your TikTok page with product links. Now, this is awesome because it basically creates a passive income vehicle where people, when they see your videos or when they're on your page, will be able to purchase those products that are linked within the video. And this is something that it's static, it will remain there. So even if people come onto your page and see it a week after you posted, or even if you boost that post further down the line, they'll still be able to purchase the same product and have the same experience that people would as if they were seeing it for the first time. Now, growing and engaging your audience is really key on TikTok, because you can build everything great. You can have a lot of people interacting with your content, but if you're not engaging with them, you're not actually going to be able to scale that to make it a really key part of your e-commerce offering. So running live shows is a really intuitive way to create a one-on-one personal relationship with the people that are following your account. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with live selling, but it's absolutely blown up recently, and it will continue to do so, because you can create really authentic experiences that have never really been able to be offered in digital experience before. Most of the time, people want to ask questions about product. They want to feel like they are having almost like a in-store experience, but from the comfort of their own home. So they can ask questions that they might be putting them off purchasing. They can, talk to other people about why they love the products, talk to other people about your brand, and it creates a real sense of community, and it creates a very tangible connection between your brand and the consumer, which makes them feel like, oh, okay, I'm part of this, and I really want to, I really want to purchase from this brand. I want to come see their next live show, and I want to be a part of what they're doing. And then following on from that, you can use live shopping ads on TikTok to boost the reach of your live shows even further. This is something we'd recommend for all brands starting out, because the more eyes that you get on your brand in the early stages, the easier it's going to be for you to keep up your cadence in terms of live shows and posting, which will mean your growth just continues at a steadier rate. Now, I have put community and collaborations at the bottom of the list, but this is something that we should all be keeping in mind at every stage on the TikTok journey, because on TikTok, what you're really trying to do is reach out and create communities, and figuring out how you can impact the lives of the people in communities that are relevant to your brand is a really important way for you to understand what's motivated my customer, what's motivated the people who are viewing my videos, and then separate from that, what's motivating those who view and purchase, and what's stopping those who view and don't purchase. It allows you to understand your community in a way that you haven't been able to before, because they're interacting with comments, they're interacting with your videos, they can recreate your videos, and then obviously you've got the whole live element where everything is instant, it's one-on-one, and it's something that's super important to make sure that you're collaborating with both your community and creators, as well as other brands on the platform even. So a few of the pitfalls that we've seen that I thought I'd share with you guys, especially when starting out on TikTok, is, well, the first one is keep it really simple. Especially back about a year ago when TikTok Shop started, a lot of brands would come on and they would try and repurpose content from other channels. Now, traditionally, if you're putting content out there, it's got to be very polished. Really everything is to be considered. Now, this can be a bit of a pitfall, because TikTok's such a fast-moving platform, as we said, and if you're not keeping things simple and you're putting too much analysis onto whether or not things should be a certain way, you can often miss out on trends, and you can often overcomplicate your content. And this is even true to the way that you film your content. So when people are on TikTok, the average person creating on TikTok who's not a business will be filming it on their phone, they'll be editing on their phone and then posting it from their phone without wondering like, oh, what's the impact going to be? What's the long-term engagement going to be? They're not going to be using HD cameras or producing anything, that is really outstanding for their short form videos. And what this leads to is, if you try and make that content on TikTok, people obviously just swipe past it because they think, oh, it's an advertisement, it's not speaking to me. Whereas if you create the content on the device it's meant to be watched on, it feels unobtrusive. It feels like it's part of the TikTok experience already. Now, another way to also ensure that your content is going to resonate with the TikTok audience is to basically make sure that it's tailored to an always watching and always listening audience. Now, TikTok calls itself an always sound on platform. I would say it's an always on platform. People are constantly on TikTok, and you look at the research done into when people are on TikTok and for how long, and it's all throughout the day for short periods. So they'll go on the app and scroll, they'll put it down, and then they'll come back to it. Now, this is great for us trying to, to reach a wider audience, because it means that we've always got a way in to communicate with people and to get in touch with them. But this is something that you should, build into part of your social media and TikTok philosophy, is to be always watching yourself. So always see what the trends are on the platform, always be seeing what other people are doing and other brands are doing, and then make that part of your brand strategy. Because what's successful in TikTok is successful because the people are enjoying it, they're interacting with it, And therefore, by replicating that in a way that's authentic to your brand, you're going to be able to, build the same success for yourself. The same goes for having always sound on. The sound is such a key part of TikTok. I'm sure that those of you who don't use TikTok will, it's unable to miss out all the TikTok dances and like the social impact of, TikTok's all over the news, people doing dances and trends and songs that are made on there. So in order to really become a TikTok authentic brand, you need to be able to utilize those sounds. You need to be able to incorporate sounds into your brand videos in a way that is, fun and engaging or information to the customer. So another one on here is realistic objectives and targets. Now, because as I first mentioned, TikTok Shop kind of sits on that duality between e-commerce marketplace and social media platform, it can be a bit daunting to set targets, especially when you're first starting off, because what does success mean to you? Is it going to be loads of followers? Is it going to be loads of likes? Is it going to be loads of shares, loads of comments? All of those are viable options, but understanding part of this whole matrix is really going to, it's going to give you an edge on others, because you'll be able to understand, right, from these videos we put out, what we're aiming to do is grow 1,000 followers. Or it could be, right, from this live video, we're actually focused on revenue rather than awareness. Now, what this is going to do for you as a brand is it's going to enable you to actually put more precedence on TikTok Shop as part of your strategy, because you're going to be able to measure your success better, and you're not going to become sort of blanketed by all the different variables that you can measure. You'll be able to have focus. Now, this might sound complex, but this is something that we as a TSP, offer for all of our clients, and something that we can definitely help you for with advice and strategy there. Setting those realistic targets and objectives is really going to make sure that you have a focus in your TikTok journey and you don't sort of get lost to the wind of all the content that's out there. And now finally on the list, I've got forget about what if. And I think this is probably the most key thing on TikTok, especially if you're starting out as a brand, is to try as hard as you can to stop asking the what if questions. Not what if this doesn't get engaged with? What if people don't understand the video? What if someone else does it better? Those are questions that are perfectly valid to ask, but when it comes to TikTok, you're almost wasting your own time, because what if, and if what if, well, the likelihood is people have already forgotten about that video, because unless it's super engaging or setting a viral trend, a lot of other people will be creating the same content. People will be watching loads of the same content in the same day, and you've got a very small window to make an impact on them. And the impact that you do make is going to be about your brand. It's going to be about your product. They're not going to be hyper analyzing your video and hyper analyzing all the different parts of your content, which you would naturally do as a brand owner, because your brand is important to you. The consumer is just there to be entertained and find out more information. So really try as hard as you can to forget about the what if, even though it is something that is very important, to consider for yourself. So I know Ryan and Adrian went over what the activities and services are on TikTok, but these are sort of our breakdown of what the key activities are and what you should be doing on platform in order to really truly maximize all the powers of TikTok Shop. So short video might be an obvious first one, but in order to have a presence at all on TikTok, it's vital that you create a consistent plan of short video content. Now, we would recommend for a brand starting off at least one post a day. I know that can seem like quite a lot, but once you really break it down and you understand how simple it can be to create content on TikTok with the right strategy, then you realize that, wow, okay, this is actually something that's doable. And then obviously you have the creators and TSPs such as ourselves at Highlands to help you with that and assist with the content creation process. By having short video on your page, it allows you to basically build a personality for your brand on TikTok, so that when they go onto your page, they can scroll through and see, oh, okay, this is the type of brand that I'm interacting with, and they get an idea of your voice and personality from that. Live events, I know I covered this a bit before about how unique and interesting it can be to have these in-person digital interactions, and it is really key to have these live events for your brand on TikTok. But what we would suggest is hosting them in a way that's almost similar to real life events. So you want to use your short video content as a day-to-day contact with your brand. And then when you have a new product release coming out, or you have a payday sale going on, or you want to, engage with your community and talk about your product more so than selling, that's where live events really shine, because you can make them feel like they're part of something, it's inclusive, and you can even invite people to it beforehand, almost like you have joined with this webinar, where they can sign up and they'll get a notification, oh, come and join the live event. And it feels, even more interactive than we are here speaking now. Community campaigns, they're super key on TikTok because, as I mentioned before, community is absolutely everything. People want to feel a part of something, and therefore putting out decisions to the community of your consumers, to the community of creators that you work with, or even the wider TikTok community, other brands that are similar to you, or brands that are aligned with your values that complement your products. Collaborating with those brands, it allows you to reach out to double the audience you would normally have, because you get to leverage the audience of everybody involved. So advertising, that might seem like an obvious one, but it's definitely a key activity on the platform. And navigating, the traditional types of ads, such as awareness campaigns, page visits, or, even app installs is super important. But then on the other side, you also have these live video and video shop ads, as I mentioned earlier, which are really unique and are actually really powerful drivers for getting people to engage with your content and your brand, not only on TikTok, even on other platforms. So I've put collaborations here separate to community campaigns, because collaborations, especially with creators, now creators, for those of you who don't know, are TikTok specific influencers. And collaborating with creators is arguably one of the most powerful tools that TikTok offers to you in terms of building your audience in a really short time and creating effective content with little resource from you. So collaborating with people that have similar views to your brand or have something in common with a familiar aspect of your brand is going to mean that you can share audiences across the creator and brand account, and therefore you'll actually drive engagement on both your account and the creator account. Now, this cross-beneficial relationship is something that is, it's intrinsic to the community aspect of TikTok. And when people see this happening on platform, it actually provides them with a positive feeling. So they actually see this as, right, the brand is willing to work with people I like. They really, they share the same values as this person who I really enjoy their content and makes me laugh. Oh, I'm actually gonna, in my mind, they're aligned with that brand. I'm gonna go and see how I can, be a part of this. I want to be aligned with the brand. And so, that is naturally a very powerful thing to have people wanting to be part of your brand, wanting to be a part of your process, from you having to do, just collaborating with people that are aligned with you. And Adrian did mention integrations. So integrations are really key. I mean, you will all know as business owners that anything you can do to reduce the amount of steps in any process of your business, it's going to save you time and money. If you've got your products listed elsewhere, you've got your content scheduled elsewhere, being able to integrate this and pull it in to have it all pulled into TikTok Shop from existing areas, it's going to save you time and it really speeds up the process. Now, integrations as well cover things like, we can integrate to your warehouse, we can integrate to fulfillment, managed services, and other e-commerce platforms to pull in everything that's needed to really help you get success on TikTok. Now, I know it can seem quite daunting because there's, 6 key activities that are all equally as important, but that is where, TSPs, and we also offer creator and community collaborations as well. That's where it's so key to collaborate with these third parties, especially, I might be slightly biased, but Highlands are definitely a great TSP to collaborate with. And we can provide you with, the tools and the strategy that you need to find success across all these activities and really understand the matrix of these activities and how they feed each other and positively impact your community. If you'd like to know more, my email's there at the bottom. And thanks very much, everyone, for listening and sharing your time with us this morning.
Thank you, you three. That was really good. Lots of information there. So hopefully everybody's stayed caught up with that. I saw while we were going through the slides, we had a couple of questions, but it looks like Adrian has answered all of them. I've just popped the link to do the account registration into the chat, but as mentioned, we will send that out on a follow-up email anyway, in case anybody misses that. But what was it? We've got 15 minutes. So maybe, Adrian, if we just want to just run through a couple of the questions, just say them out in case anybody else hasn't had a look in the chat or has the same questions.
Yeah, sure. The first one was from Jane. It was around, I guess, do they need to export and then import the information from Shopify into TikTok Shop? The answer is we have some connectors that can support with that. so they can bring that information directly into TikTok Shop without you having to do any manual work. You can, of course, change the details of that afterwards if you want to maybe localize your TikTok Shop content a bit more. That can be configured within TikTok Shop console. I think the second one was around, sort of lost the chat one, give me a second. Second one was from Suhail about settlements. So in terms of, I guess, payments, all settlements will be handled by TikTok Shop. All the respective fees will be deducted by us before the remaining amount is dispersed to your bank account. So I mentioned in the chat that, you know, some payments can be as fast as 3 to 4 days, depending whether you meet our TikTok Shop metrics for like performance. But the standard would probably be more around a sort of 2-week mark instead. You will be on that by default until you sort of meet the metrics to make it a much faster disbursement period. That's one thing to note. In terms of fees and commissions, like Ryan, do you want to maybe give a sort of quick overview of that?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of fees, like Adrian said, it's just like a transaction fee, and currently we take 5%, and then in your first like couple months, it's actually subsidized as well. So it sits at about 1.8% of a transaction fee. So we're really just passionate about our merchants getting involved, testing it out, and trialing all of the shop experience right now.
Great, thank you. And one from me, for Jonathan. When you said short videos, what is the kind of amount of time that qualifies as short?
That's a very good question. I believe on TikTok, you can now do videos up to 60 seconds long, though what we would say is if you're trying to engage your audience, you should really be looking around the 20-second mark, 21 to 40 seconds. And, you know, ideally the less possible. Especially because the way that the TikTok algorithm works is if people rewatch your content, then it's going to get boosted. The more times people watch, any sort of interaction is measured as a positive identifier. So if you have a short video and people watch it 4 times in a row, that's going to be better than having a long video that people, you know, only watch half of. Then it's going to be like, oh, okay, they weren't that engaged. And if you can fit everything that you're talking about into a slightly smaller, more condensed format, you basically are increasing your chances of having an impact on the person who's watching it. If you can reach them in 20 seconds or less and, explain what you're trying to do and communicate your message, they're more likely to not, lose their focus and lose their attention. And it's super key when you're on TikTok. And it's like I said, creating with a creative first mindset for TikTok. This is so intrinsic because you've got to yourself, well, when people are on TikTok, they used to swipe, swipe. So that they're going to be going through things really quickly. And if you start going, oh, hi there, and then you really slowly pace it out, they're likely just going to swipe past you.
Right. Okay. So that really speaks to the keep it simple, stupid message that you talked about earlier then.
Yeah. Yeah, just simple, short and sweet. 20 to 25 seconds, I'd say, is a really good sweet spot.
Yeah. Okay. Skip the intros, get straight into it. Say what you got to say.
Exactly. Yeah. Be authentic.
Yeah. Cool. I like it. Okay. Right. I think that was all for the questions. Unless anybody's got some last minute, they can quickly type into the chat. But otherwise, as mentioned, yes, we're going to be sharing some bits and pieces, including the link of how you register and everybody's contact details to be able to. Oh, you might have a question. No, brilliant. Jane's happy with that. She's learned a lot, sounds like, which is really good. Yes, so hopefully we've answered the questions that you have, and hopefully we can get you live and selling through TikTok. I think now is a really great time to get up and running, obviously into peak, so a great trading period to get trying out some new channels. So thank you for attending, everybody, and as mentioned, we'll follow up and hopefully we'll see you again on one of our upcoming webinars. Thank you very much. Thanks, speaking.
Thank you, everyone.